I'm Chris from the PokeNerds 101 channel, and this is going to be a video on how to EV train your Pokemon. Just a side note before I get started in the details is the fact that EV training is actually a lot easier than it seems to be. People will make it out to be extremely hard and complicated, but it's really not all that difficult. All you need to know is a basic knowledge of what EVs are and how to get them, and you should be set. So what are EVs? EV is an acronym for effort value. And an effort value is a number of points that you get when defeating a Pokemon that you can get experience from. There are 6 different kinds of EVs. Well, same EVs, but they go into different stats. So, if I were to go out and kill a Zubat, I would get 1 EV in speed. If I were to go out and kill a Rhyperior, I would get 3 EVs in attack. Now, what do those EVs mean? Since effort values are completely hidden, you cannot go in-game and find out how many EVs a specific Pokemon has and in which stats. All you can go on is what you know. So, it is not recommended, and almost impossible actually, to EV train a Pokemon that you have already trained before, or that you got in a trade from someone who has trained their Pokemon. So you pretty much have to start fresh. And the only ways to start fresh is to catch a Pokemon in the wild, or to hatch it from an egg. Both of those ways will ensure that it starts out with 0 EVs. So the total number of EVs that you can get on a Pokemon is 510. And what the 510 means is that if you kill 520 Zubats, you could possibly get 520 EVs towards speed. But that is impossible, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. So, how will I know if my EV training has worked? Will I see anything on the game, or will I just have in the back of my head knowledge that he has 510 EVs in speed and not see anything? What you'll see is every time you get 4 EVs in a specific stat, you will get a +1 in that stat on your next level up. So if I take my Bibarel out and I kill 4 Zubats, and then I level up, I will see an extra +1 in speed. Regardless of the other level up pluses I will get a +1 in speed for killing those 4 Zubats. And that has taken up 4 of my 510 effort values. So, if you, in theory, you could take all 520 of your EVs and throw them into speed and have an insanely fast Pokemon. But the game has limited you on that. All you can do is do a maximum of 252 EVs in one specific stat before they become useless. So, if you decided to max EV, speed, and attack with 252 each, then you would have an extra 6 left, meaning you can put 4 of those to a different stat. The real limit is actually 255 for each stat, but since you can't use those extra 3, because the 255 is not divisible by 4, really all you want to do is 252. Okay, so you have now EV'd your attack 252 and your speed 252, and you have 6 left. You can use 4 of those for a +1 to a different stat, but you cannot use those last 2 for anything. They are completely useless, they won't do anything, don't worry about it. Okay, so now we're going to go into how you actually go about getting those, and how to quickly do it without boring yourself to tears. Now, I will let you know now that to completely EV train a Pokemon, and to make sure that you have all the numbers correct, it will require the Poketech applications, or if you're on a game that does not have the Poketech applications, you'll need a pen and pencil, or just an insanely good brain at memorizing things. Like I said earlier, if I take my Bibarel out and kill a Zubat, I'll get a +1 EV in speed. But you're not going to want to wait and kill 252 Zubats, that would take forever. So, what we do is we use some items and the Pokevirus. The Pokevirus, or Pokerus, as it's acronymed to, I guess would be the verb for it. The Pokerus doubles the amount of EVs you get from killing a Pokemon. So, if my Bibarel with the Pokevirus goes out and kills a Zubat, I will get 2 EVs in speed rather than 1. And then there's items like the Macho Brace, and then the 5 power items, or 6 power items that you can buy from the Battle Frontier. Those 6 power items, when put onto a Pokemon, will reduce its speed a tiny bit, but it will add 4 to the total number of EVs that you get from killing a Pokemon. And those 4 are added on before the Pokevirus effect is multiplied the whole thing by 2. So, a Pokemon, my Bibarel with a power item in speed, will get the 1 from Zubat plus 4 more which will mean he will get a total of 5 EVs from each Zubat. That's well on our way. We could kill about 50 Zubats and get up there. But if we have both the power item and the Pokevirus, then we get 10 EVs for each Zubat we kill. So that means you have to kill 25 Zubats to get 250 EVs, and then we'll round off the last 2 later. I would just like to go a little bit more into the math of this whole thing. There isn't really much, so you don't have to worry about it. But I would suggest before EV training your Pokemon, you figure out with pencil and paper which stats you want your EVs to go into. As you know already, 510 total can be assigned, and 252 max to each stat. You're not limited to doing 252 in 2 different stats and then sending the last 4 somewhere else. You can do any combination. For example, I just EV trained a Rhyhorn that had 252 EVs in attack, 176 EVs in defense, and 80 EVs in attack. Now, it's pretty obvious how you would go about getting those, assuming each Pokemon you kill gives you 10. You'd kill 8 Machops for 8 attack, you'd kill 17 Geodudes for 170 in defense, and then 3 more with no power item, etc. It's very easy to figure out. But, like I said, I'd recommend going through and writing it down on a piece of paper, how and where you plan on doing it, at least for your first few times, so you don't get messed up in the middle. Now, there is one more thing that you can use if you want to take a little bit of a shorter route. If you have loads of money in the game and you don't know what to do with it, you can go to one of the department stores and buy the vitamins. As you know, there are 6 different vitamins that'll give you a little boost in HP or speed, etc. Those don't give you an immediate raise in that stat when you use them like we all used to think. They actually just give you a plus 10 EVs in that specific stat. So, if you were feeling lazy and you didn't feel like you could kill 26 Zubats without pulling your hair out, you could go and buy 10 Carbos and give them to your Pokemon that you're EVing, and you'll get a free 100 EVs in speed. But, since the game knows that you get a lot of money throughout the game, they don't allow you to completely EV your Pokemon with just those items. They've put a limit at 100 EVs worth from those items, which means that if I'm EVing a Pokemon for speed, I can only use 10 Carbos. After that, it won't have any effect, and the game will tell you that. So, what you've essentially done is instead of killing 26 Zubats, you kill 17 Zubats with the power item and Pokevirus, and you get 100 from the 10 Carbos. I would not recommend doing that, however, mostly because I like to conserve my money, and killing Zubats and killing 10 more Pokemon doesn't really take all that long. It may take an extra 5 or 10 minutes. The only reason I would suggest that is if you cannot by any means get your hands on the Pokevirus, and so you're stuck getting 5 per Pokemon, you probably would want to get those 10 EV items. But I would certainly recommend trying to get the Pokevirus, and the people over at the Cerebi Wi-Fi chat room are more than willing to trade you a Pokemon with it if you have what they're looking for. Link to that chat room down in the underbar. So, that is basically this entire video. There is nothing more you need to know. And the talking was probably very boring considering this video got up to around 8 minutes. So if you'd like to see this EV training put into practice, I will show you on my Game Boy how to EV train, a few tips and tricks on where to EV train. You can check those out in part 2, which is linked to right here and in the outro. See you guys later.